All right, so we've made it all the way through the hunting season. We're into the middle of January now, trying to figure out, how to keep the fire burning. It's too soon to quit thinking about deer hunting. We can't just shut it off like that. So we got to have something else we can do while we're kind of wrapping up the season, and that something is shed hunting. And we love to get out and find out which deer made it through the winter. And we learned a lot from our shed hunting. I'm looking out right now and I can see spots on this farm where we found antlers during the winter, and then we've found the deer the next year in some of those same areas. So not only is it a good scouting tool to help you figure out where some of these deer were living when the season ended, but also you can get out and you can study the sign, and you can learn a lot more about your hunting area. So next I'm going to give you a couple tips on how to find antlers. It's super simple if you think about it. The antlers are going to be wherever the deer are. So where do the deer spend their time during this time of the year? They're primarily focused on bedding areas, a lot of times in areas where they can get sunlight. They get that nice conductive heating that comes from facing towards the sun. So south-facing slopes often are primary bedding areas during this time of the year. They go from there to where they feed. So you got your good bedding areas, normally south-facing. Then you've got some trails leading to feeding areas. Then you've got the feeding areas themselves. They go back and forth on this pattern, and there's really no real trick to it. You're going to find the antlers where you find the deer, and that's where you'll find the deer during this time of the year. So if you focus on those types of areas, that's where you're going to find your greatest concentration of antlers. But there's a few other little tricks. Some of the guys that do a lot of shed hunting, they like certain types of days. They like a day like right after they get a little bit of rain, or they get maybe a little bit of overcast sky. It kind of gives you more flat light in the timber. It just makes the antlers easier to see. Some of those types of things you might put away sort of in the back of your mind too. But there's not a lot to this stuff. You just cover a lot of ground. Spend your time in the places where the deer spend the end of their winter, and that's where you're going to find the most antlers. So good luck, and I hope you can find the antlers off that buck you were hunting last season and learn a little bit more about him.